Hey, what's going on, Ecom Empires? Nick here, coming to you in beautiful Bali from the Ecom Villa. You can see just the amazing scenery behind me. I'm on the roof now of this villa. It's actually quite incredible. It's been an amazing time here so far. I love Bali. It's paradise here, and there's nothing better really than being paradise and being able to network with the entrepreneurs that are here. The people that have come, it's really special to me, the group that's here and the mastermind that's been going on. There's been some awesome stuff happening already. Like, we just have people here from, all over the place, all over the world. We even have somebody here from Estonia, like, just, so it seems so random at first, but then at the same time, we're all here, and it's like these amazing connections are being made. People are working on their business. People are putting the time in, putting the effort in. Also, just getting to have that environment of not only being in paradise and being here at a place to kind of refresh and get yourself together, get your goals in alignment, get you thinking about what you want and what's possible, but being with other people that are help creating, like Napoleon Hill says in Think and Grow Rich, when more than two minds are gathered in one place focused on the same mission, amazing things happen. And for me so far, that's really what it's been. It's been awesome just to actually be here and have this first event with Ecom Empires, and have this all set up and get to meet people for the first time from the group, like here live and in person. That has just been awesome for me. And so I'm really enjoying myself. And I wanted to actually take a moment now, of course, remember the people in Ecom Empires, the group, my home, which I absolutely love. And we went over some really good stuff today. We've been going over some really good stuff every day, but what I like about today, and it actually goes along with a post that Justin Senior just made in the group yesterday, I believe, where he talked about having a plan for your ecom business. And so where we really have been focusing the first couple of days are like some of the foundational stuff when it comes to your business and, Shopify, drop shipping, custom merchandise, whatever you're doing. That foundational stuff of building a store and building a proper layout and having that all constructed. And then we really moved into a really heavy session, a lot of time that we've been spending focusing on niche research and product research and just kind of understanding, analyzing winning products that are out there, looking at the market and seeing, just the basic stuff when it comes to product research. And so these are all things that we talked about here. And hopefully you can read this board. I'm going to go over it anyway. I'm sure if you kind of look closely, you'll be able to see what's going on. I know my writing's kind of small because it's just jam-packed with information, but this is like the notes from the session that we went over. So it's kind of scattered now, but I'm going to go through all this with you in like a quick blitz session here that I think is going to be really good for people that are just getting started. One of the biggest problems that I see with e-commerce and people out there in general getting started in this business is that they don't have a plan, right? They don't have a strategy of what they're going to do. And so it seems very random. And, in reality, when it comes to e-commerce, when it comes to Shopify, when it comes to the overall drop shipping business model, there's not too much new information that's out there, right? Like, you can see this stuff here is pretty much the basics of what's going on. When it comes to where we're finding products, we're all pulling from the same places for the most part, right? AliExpress is still the lowest barrier to entry for anybody getting into drop shipping. We talked a little bit here. We actually were blessed to have some people here who are like connected with sourcing and manufacturers in China, and they've been shedding some amazing some insight onto that whole world that is even new to me as well. Like, I don't really know much about sourcing from China. I've always just kind of done the dropship model, right? And so I'm learning some great stuff when it comes to that and kind of getting some insight into what it takes to take it to the next level, where you want to start being able to source your own products and maybe control stuff in-house, get a little bit more bulk discounts, quality control on the prices and that kind of thing. But the beginning point where most people are starting at the newest level is going to be AliExpress. Even people that are killing it right now, like you see them in the group, people like Manny and John Zhang and Yumi here is killing it. Well, she's actually doing her own products, but other people like the first two I mentioned, they're sourcing from AliExpress still, right? And this is still a very big place of opportunity for anybody to be able to get a store set up quickly, get it launched quickly, and be making money. And shout out to both John and Manny for dropping some amazing content in the group lately with strategies that have been working for them and things that they've been doing. So we talked about AliExpress, and there's not too much new information out there, right? Like the things that I've put in the videos are still the basic ways that people are going out there and doing product research, looking into AliExpress collections, looking into the trending stuff on AliExpress, looking at the best sellers, and then like in my videos, you kind of get started in one area, and then you start researching, you look at related products, you open up the stores, you look at top selling items, and like you just get into a mode of doing product research and looking at a lot of different items, right? And so that's something that is not really new. We know about that. We know about being able to look at big dropship stores, okay? We know the website has been shared in the group, in the My IP thing, or just being able to go out there and look at sites that are big drop shipping sites that you can find by looking on Google and such, and using the Shopify IP address, and there's other like things out there that you can find the big dropship stores. It doesn't really take that much research if you're looking and you're diligent, and then you can go visit these stores. You can then visit their Facebook pages. You can get retargeted by their Facebook ads, and so you can see the products that they're selling as they're selling them, and a lot of times that can be a great way for you to catch a trend as it's happening, right? As they might be finding a great product that might give you an idea, or might be something that you can sell as well. Just because somebody's selling it and making a killing doesn't necessarily mean that you can't sell it. All right, so that's a great way that you can see what's working, and you can kind of reverse engineer what's out there, doing well, getting a lot of sales, and it's just a matter of putting the time in and doing the research. Amazon bestsellers is something that we talked about briefly. I shared this in the group with my original case study store, Bold and Social, that I did for Ecom Empires when I was first starting this group, and that was the mermaid blankets, right? So that was one of the products that I sold on there that did well for me, that helped bring that store to 5 figures, and the mermaid blankets were something that I found on the Amazon bestseller list. So this is a place that you can go from time to time and just search bestsellers. And I'm not saying you're drop shipping from Amazon. I'm saying you're finding it there and then kind of going to AliExpress and seeing if you can source the product yourself in AliExpress. Just using this as a way to find ideas. We also talked about Google Trends and being able to look at Google Trends to kind of research your ideas, right? Like you can go to Google Trends and you can research ideas that you have to see if the trend is going up, see if the trend is on its way down. Like we looked at fidget spinners and we looked at some other things just to see, like you can watch as the trend spiked up and as the trend is coming down. So Google Trends can be a way that you can kind of look at what is happening in the market because of the search volume. It's a good indicator of, where are you at in the trend of this product that you're looking at, to give yourself an idea of what type of success you might be able to have with it, or if this is something a lot of people are searching for, if there's a lot of interest around. It's just kind of a way to do your homework and double check what you're looking at. And then Pinterest is something that we talked about briefly. We're going to talk about this more. Pinterest is a big resource for almost anybody doing print on demand or custom merchandise. We're going to talk about that more. We've been spending so much time just kind of analyzing products and reverse engineering some stores out there that we haven't really got into Pinterest too much yet. But Pinterest is a gold mine of information for most niches to be able to see the type of stuff that your niche responds to, right? That's popular, the type of phrases, sayings, images, and things that really get some type of emotion out of people, and that can work really well, not only for custom merchandise and print on demand for you to be able to find designs and take them to a designer and get them printed, but also as a way to just get ideas in your mind of, again, what you can go back to AliExpress and be looking for. Now, there are other drop shipping sites out there, there are other wholesale sites that you can use, but again, for the most part, I really still have not seen anything yet in my experience for a brand new person getting started that is much better than AliExpress. This is a great way to just have a really low barrier to entry, keep your profit margins nice, because a lot of the other drop shipping sites out there we haven't even really talked about, because your margin is just like, it's just not there with some of these US wholesale drop shipping sites, and all the big stores are generally still drop shipping right from AliExpress, and so it shows that it works, right? When you look at these big stores out there and you see people that are pushing lots and lots of sales through on a monthly basis, they're drop shipping products from AliExpress. Their shipping page is very open and direct and blunt about the fact that orders take, however they decide to word it, 10 to 15 working days, or 10 to 15 business days, or 15 to 21 days. Like, we looked at so many different sites that are killing it, that are like in the traffic top spots of Shopify stores worldwide. And they're all still drop shipping from AliExpress. So the model still works, all right? They may be pushing bigger budgets, but you can still get in and find unique products and start with small budgets and still make it happen, right? It's still very available as an opportunity. As a matter of fact, we've had people here who have gotten just started as we've been here and launched like new stores and have already gotten sales. So that's really cool, and we see people getting new sales in the group all the time. We see people in the group breaking like new milestones all the time. We had that post in the group the other day that I didn't make where somebody came out and was like, I wonder how much money this free training is responsible for, and like I don't know, the number ended up somewhere people were guessing like in the $5 to $10 million range that people in the group have been able to. I mean, there's one store in the group, I'm not going to say what it is, of course. I told them here because I know what store it is, and I know the person in the group, but there is one store in the group actually from one of our group members who started basically from scratch, and his Shopify store is now in one of those top big dropship stores, just drop shipping items straight from AliExpress. So that's really cool. So the point that I'm getting at here is it's not about as much the product research, right? I mean, it is. Like, everybody's always like, the product research, how do you find the winning product? And it is very much about the winning products, right? Like, you want to find a winning product that you can scale and make a lot of money on. But what's almost equally as or more important than where we're all pulling the same information from, right? We're all pulling from the same sources, is your strategy going into it. All right, and that's where we really kind of focused today, because we've been spending all this time on looking at, just ideas and reverse engineering and looking at what makes up a winning product, finding winning products out there and just kind of analyzing why they work. We had case studies in the group, people sharing different things and, experiences from winning products that they've had. But the strategy is really the most important part, okay? Because you want to have a strategy going forward so that you're able to not be random, right? You're not just throwing stuff against the wall. You're not just throwing darts in the dark hoping that something sticks. You have a strategy and a formula and a plan, something that you're guiding yourself by, something that helps you remove the emotion from what you're doing so that you have a system you're following and you're able to actually do this on a continual basis and be doing what you need to do to find those winning products as quickly as possible. Now, I'm not really going to talk as much about the Facebook ads right now because, we've talked about that in the past. I'll talk a little bit about it, but, I'm really going to get into kind of what your overall strategy is. So one of the things that I've talked about in the past, but I don't know that I've ever put it down to paper like this, is kind of your general store strategy getting started. All right, I still absolutely 100% suggest for new people getting started, unless you know a niche very, very well, or you're particularly like focused in a niche that you have a lot of experience in, or you already have like some kind of insider information that you can sell stuff in this niche, that you start with a general store idea. And that's not necessarily that you're going to stay there forever, but the general store idea gives you the flexibility to be able to test a few different niches, right? So the overall concept here is that you'll have a general store, and then maybe you'll focus on like 3 broad niche ideas, okay? Broad categories. I'm talking about broad like pets, broad like military, broad like outdoor hiking, right? Those are broad categories, okay? And you're picking a general store name that is branded in the sense of something like Collective Cultures, right? The case study store that I did with the group, and have plans of actually reopening soon here. I just have been swamped, honestly. I don't even have time for it, but the general overall format of Collective Cultures is still, something that I suggest and I think works well, and that we verified these other big dropship stores are doing something very, very similar. Like, these stores aren't doing anything elaborate. There's nothing there that's like you can't do, that you can't duplicate, that requires millions of dollars to get started. They're using very basic formats, very basic templates. The stores look very much exactly like the case study stores that I've done, and the only difference is they are working on a system. They've found a system and a strategy that allows them to move through quickly, find winners quickly, and once they start getting that system down, they're in a process of constantly making money and reinvesting money and testing new products, and making money and reinvesting money and testing new products, right? Like, that's what it's all about, getting into that system. And for me personally, I don't know if I don't know how many people know this or not. I mean, my cap out has been around the $100,000 a month range, all right? And I'm still working to surpass that. But this information is absolutely the stuff that can get you to that level. And it's the stuff that I believe the big drop ship stores are doing to push it even higher. They've just been testing more ferociously than I have, right? They've been at it better. They've probably built bigger teams than I have, where I've kind of tended to stay on the solopreneur path. But either way, getting back to the strategy, what we're looking at here is giving yourself something that's going to help you get started, okay? A lot of people are so focused on, like, you get hung up on the idea of what type of product or what type of store or what type of brand or what type of niche or what type of product page, or you're asking about view content versus add to cart versus purchase, and you're asking about lookalikes, and you haven't even found the winning product yet, right? Like, you need to get started. You need to just be at it. You need to be going at it and get into a cycle of moving. I have a new store now that I started about a month ago. And when I started that store, we started with a concept, right? I had a concept and we moved into it and we got started. And the concept was good. It was there. We used the basic format of what I'm going to show you right here with this kind of bracket strategy here. And we used the basic format to get started. And so the conversion rate in the beginning wasn't very good. I'll be just completely 100 with you. The conversion rate was like maybe 0.5, 0.7%, I don't know, but it wasn't good. It wasn't where I wanted it to be. But I didn't hold off on running ads and just start asking a million questions and start posting in groups all over the place, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with asking questions and getting information, but the point is you want to be moving imperfectly towards perfection, right? The goal is to get better. The goal is constant reevaluation and getting better, but you want to start imperfect and just get started, because it's those actions that are going to drive you to the way that you get there. So I got started and I looked across the formula of what was working, right? So I was looking at having, you have basically your ad to your product page, to your cart, to your purchase, okay? And so you have a formula at this point right now. That's a formula, right? As simple as that is, that's a funnel and that's a formula. So you start here. Are you getting clicks? If you're not getting clicks, then your ad sucks, okay? If you're getting clicks, but you're not getting any add to carts, then your product page sucks. If you're getting people on your product page and you're getting add to carts and you're not getting any purchases, then you need to work on your cart page, right? So there's formulas that you have that you can understand in the funnel along the way, but you're not gonna know what's not working until you get started, right? You have to absolutely get started and start driving traffic and understand and have the faith and belief in yourself that you're going to fix it along the way. And that's what I did. I got started and I kept fixing it along the way, and now my conversion rate's up there around, it went to 1%, and then it went to 1.5, and then the 2%, and then the 3%, and now it's hovering around 3.5%. And I'm still focusing now on this area, figuring out what I can do better to continue to improve my conversion rate on that store. Right, so that's like what you want to be focusing on in the beginning, is you just want to get started, but you want to get started with a strategy, right? So I basically break this down into 4 parts here. All right, the first part is looking at your foundation, okay? The foundation of what you're doing. That is the basics, all right? You can get this stuff in Dropship Academy in my group. You can get this stuff in Custom Merchandise Academy. You can get this stuff by looking at the case study stores that I've built. You can get this stuff by, almost anywhere, right? This is the foundation of building a store, building the Facebook page, finding some products, like that. That's the foundation. You want to have a store set up. You want to have a brand name. You want to put some kind of story to that brand, some kind of theme that unites the whole store together, right? There has to be a purpose. Even if it's just a drop shipping store, even if it's just a deal site, there's still something there, right? If it's a deal site, there's still some kind of story there. Hey, we source products from all around the world to bring you the best stuff at the cheapest prices. Thank you for shopping with us. There's still some type of story. Collective Cultures, the story was everybody's got their own unique identity, their own unique culture that they grow up believing and loving and identifying with, and our store is here to bring the most unique and best items of those cultures to you, right? And so that was my foundation of my store going into it. You set up the pages you need, the minimum conversion points, right? Make your product page look good, get those trust badges in there, nothing too gimmicky, nothing over the top, just making it look solid and complete. All right, when we looked at the big dropship stores, we saw that more more of them were not using the gimmicks than some of them were, right? Like some of them were definitely doing it, but most of them, a lot of them were not using any type of crazy gimmicks, right? They had very clean layout, clean header, trust badges where they need to be, price where they need to be, big clean image, product description, and then related items in a footer. That's like the basics of what you need. And then you need the pages that you can see all that stuff in the group, the FAQs, the contact page, easily identifiable shipping policy, easily identifiable return policy, the type of things that people want to see to know that they can trust your store enough to buy from it. That it doesn't need to be fancy, it doesn't need to look like $1 million Gucci store unless that's your brand that you're going for. It just needs to look trustworthy enough to buy, and it needs to fit a common theme, a common story across the whole thing, okay? That's the foundation of your store. All right, and then from there, you want to move into the plan. Okay, you need to have a plan, something that's guiding you along the way of what you're doing, so it's not random, so it's actually timed out. So, well, not timed out necessarily, but so it's actually like structured, okay? Because that's what a lot of people we decided here have a problem with, and I'm sure you all agree, is that people go into it and they're not really sure. And it's not that you can't come up with a plan, it's that people just don't think about it because no one showed them how to come up with a plan, right? And they get new and they get into e-commerce and they just hear about product this, product that, big winner here, screenshot there, and they're like doing all this crazy stuff, when really, if you were to just start out with a plan, then you would be able to find a way to actually start doing some of the stuff we're going to look at up here. All right, and the plan is really important. And again, this is actually something that one of the guys that we have here, it was interesting. He just went through like a webinar kind of case study with somebody doing big numbers, who kind of broke down their entire system. And their system is basically a high level version of exactly what I'm showing you. This is my playbook that I came up with, that other people use as well, because it's a good playbook, and I'm not the first one to think of this, but this is the playbook that I use, and it works, and it still works, and it continues to work. And even the guys that are out there pushing bigger numbers than I am are using a very similar playbook. They're just doing it to a much higher level, right? They're cycling through products much faster. They're pushing much bigger budgets. Okay, so this is what we're looking at here. You have your general store concept, okay? And then you're picking maybe 3 broad categories like we talked about. So like in collective cultures, if I were to continue that store, which I started it and got sales, and I just paused it, but there's the military culture I was doing, there's the EDM culture, there was the travel culture. So let's just pick those 3, right? They're 3 big broad niches, okay? And they all have people that buy in those niches. They're proven buyers markets. Then there was the family niche. Actually, let's say that. Let's say family, travel, military, right? So family, travel, military, and that's my general store concept. Now, the idea with a general store is not that you necessarily have to grow it and test all these niches at the same time. That's what a lot of people get confused on. They're like going out there random and just picking products from everywhere. And you can do that in a way and kind of be testing the scale, but really, I think that you should start with categories and focus in there, because my concept and my idea has always been trying to focus in and find the one niche that I know is making me a lot of money, and then focus my attention on that, and then maybe turn it into a general niche store where I'm focusing on that broad category and putting my money there and starting to build that up and make a lot of money. That's what I've kind of done in the past over and over and over again to be successful, and I think that it's a way that can really guide people. The other idea is to just have a large general store and just be picking products across different niches and always be focusing on finding that one winner. Both ideas can work. It's really based on what you want to do and what your vision is. So from this here, we have 3 main categories, right? And then from there, I broke it down into saying pick like 3 subcategories for each one of those big niches, okay? So you have your main categories, and then you break it down into the sub niches for each category. So like for military, that could be example, veterans, gun rights, women's veterans, right? Men's veterans, gun rights, women veterans. Like those could be 3 different subcategories inside the military niche. Inside the family niche, it could be parents, it could be kids, it could be grandparents. Like really simple. These are subcategories within it. Inside the travel niche, it could be like digital nomads. It could be beach goers. It could be outdoor. Like those are all different types of subcategories, and they all have products and proven buyers in them, right? If you have trouble looking at categories to come up with, go to AliExpress and look at their homepage. There's all kinds of, on the left hand side, you'll see all kinds of big big broad level categories, and when you hover over any one of them, it'll break it out into multiple subcategories that you can be using to get ideas, okay? And then from your sub niches, you're going to break that down and look for like 3 to 5 hot products, winning products, good idea products that you can find within each one of those. And now you have the context of a general store already built out. You have products that you can start testing across the board, or you can focus in one niche at a time, like you see here what I did, where I boxed it out. Like you can focus one niche at a time, or you can be testing products across the board, however you feel most comfortable doing that. But you know, that's up to you. Like one of the big guys out there that we were talking about, that we were kind of breaking down his store, he's just kind of picking products from each niche and he's pushing them out there to see what is winning, and he's testing, like, you know, multiple products a day, and he's doing it at a fast enough cycle that he's able to stick to the 80-20 rule and find the products that are working and scale those quickly. We're going to talk about that more in a second. So once you have this concept here, you have like a framework to go in within, and you shouldn't have to cycle through this framework more than 2 times really to find a winning product. All right, if you're picking and focusing on a niche and then testing a few products within that niche, you're using my micro ad set theory to test quickly and save money and get the winners quickly. You should be able to cycle through and you should be finding winning products pretty soon within that method. And if you don't understand that, comment on this video so I can elaborate more. And then the final thing is, when it comes to the products, is how are you testing, all right? That's where the micro ad set theory comes in. You need to have judgment frames. You need to have some kind of framework for actually testing these products. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So if you're just doing a niche store, you have a niche that you're focused on, then you're just focusing in on one of these boxes, right? You have your niche already, you're focusing on finding the sub niches within that. That's what we're doing as a group case study store, just within our own little mastermind here. We picked a broad category niche. We set up a store last night. Today we went through, we looked at a bunch of subcategories, and then we found a bunch of hot products within that subcategory. We used these exact methods to go to Google and basically type in myshopify.com and then the niche, and then we typed in like and we went to Amazon and we looked at like that niche, and then we went to Pinterest and we looked at niche. So like that's what we're doing here, and we were able to find several good products that we're going to start putting on the store today, and we're going to start testing and going into the next phase of how are you testing your products. All right, so this is the plan. This is the plan, the strategy, something that you can follow, something that can keep you grounded as you go through. You just want to be able to put something on paper. You want to be able to know where you're headed, what you're trying to achieve, what the outcome is, what the intentions are with every step that you're doing. You don't want to be random. If you're just doing stuff randomly, that's when people are struggling and they're saying, oh man, I watched all the videos, but I can't get anything to work, because you're just being so random about it. You're out there watching 50 webinars a day, and you're just constantly taking one webinar and trying, and then like you're testing products, but you're not really looking at the data, or you're not really giving it a real follow through, and so you're just throwing stuff out there and hoping to find something that sticks. And I'm not saying that can't work. There are lottery winners, right? People do win the lottery. It happens all the time, but the chances of winning the lottery are 1 in like millions. So that strategy is not a strategy you want to bet your future on. You want to have a plan that guides you there. And then we get into the execution, right? The execution part is how you're testing, and that's what we're going to talk about here. How you're testing is the execution of your ads and of your plan, okay? And then finally, constant evaluation is the last part of this strategy, where in the Army we called it after action reviews, AARs. After every time you're executing, you're always going back and reviewing. I'm reviewing every single day, constantly reviewing I'm reviewing on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. And you're constantly looking at what have you accomplished, what have you not accomplished, and what do you need to change to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish, right? And so you need to be working within an execution strategy to make sure that there's no emotion, okay? That's another problem that people have, is they're trying to make decisions based on their gut. Like, oh, I just feel like this product could really do it. I feel like it could really get there, And it's like, no, that's not really it. You want to be judging on data. And that's, again, goes back to one of the big stores that we were talking about today, and we were reverse engineering from this guy that kind of shared his entire blueprint, is that exact thing. He's ruthless, he's judging ruthlessly on the data and looking at that all the time. And you guys have seen that that's exactly what's in the micro ad set theory as well, is that I kill stuff quickly if it's not working. I don't put any emotion into it. that I'm just killing the product. Because here's the deal, all right? Facebook is a really advanced algorithm. Facebook knows what it's doing, okay? Most of the stuff that we're seeing out there now from the big spenders, from the people that are doing things, are that they're starting off with one ad set and they're setting one budget to it, and then they're just seeing how that ad set performs, okay? And you can see what we're doing here. We were talking about this guy, he was doing $30 a day, right? He's doing $30 a day. He's testing several products a day for 1 day at a time, and he's looking to get the signs within that $30 of a winner, right? And purchases. He's looking for purchases within that first $30, and more than one, okay? A couple purchases. You know, that's what he's looking for. Because, think of it like this, somebody offered a really good strategy while we were here, which is why I love this kind of stuff, Mastermind. People bring different perspectives. So a really good strategy is to think of it like this. If you had a retail store and you say $30 is going to get you, you know, let's assume a $10 average CPM. So let's say $30 gets you 3,000 impressions, right? And so out of that 3,000 impressions, that's now 3,000 people that have seen your product. And you know, several of them are going to visit. Well, if you've had 3,000 people that have seen your store, and some of them have come in and walked around and looked at your product that you're advertising, and you haven't sold a single one, chances are you're not going to sell any more. And you might sell one, but it's not going to be profitable. Like, the whole point is that Facebook is going out from the very beginning and optimized for the cheapest conversions, okay? So it doesn't matter if you're testing at $30 a day or $5 a day. The point is Facebook is going out based on your budget and looking for the cheapest conversions in that ad set that you give it. And so your feedback loop might be different, right? If you're spending $30 in a day, then all you need is 1 day to test and see if I didn't get any sales. Well, this sucks, I'm moving on, right? I got a couple sales. Well, is it profitable? No. All right, moving on. I got a few sales and this is profitable. Okay, perfect. So I know that I have something here that I can scale. Now, if you're getting a few sales and it's not quite profitable, like, then that's a, you know, you could continue that for the next day to see if it becomes profitable the next day. But if you're not getting any sales in the first $30 you spent, then it's not a winning product. And I would even venture to say, if you're not getting sales in like the first $15 to $20 that you spend, then chances are it's not a winning product. All right, and you know, you can disagree with that if you want, but you'll also probably end up wasting a lot of money. Okay, so I like looking at my stuff in these types of judgment frames. Now, here's the deal, right? So we're looking at the 80-20 rule when we're talking about this. So if you're testing 10 products, this is what it looks like, okay? If you're testing 10 products, out of those 10, you're gonna have 8 that fail. 8 products out of 10 that fail, okay? And out of that 10, hopefully you'll find 2 that scale. Maybe only 1, but hopefully you'll find 2 that you can scale. Maybe one of them will be a big winner that you can really scale, and the one's profitable, but not like something that you can continue to scale really, really high, all right? And you're getting into a cycle of repeating this. Okay, so the deal is, though, your feedback loops is what I want to talk about. And a feedback loop is how quickly you're receiving the information from when you start the test, all right? Because that's what really matters, is your feedback loop. So if you're testing 10 products, or you're going by the 80-20 rule, but you're only testing 3 products a day, well, those first 3 products might fail, right? And it might not even work out like this. It could be by chance that the products that hit are the last 2. All right, so you have to, first of all, give it time to test enough products, all right? You can't test 3 products and just assume if all 3 of them are dead, that means you're a failure, right? Because it takes more than that. People are still, the 80-20 rule is still true, okay? Like, no matter how much money you're spending, lots of people other than myself, that they're testing a lot. There's no substitute for testing, okay? There's no magic formula out there. There's nobody out there that's got a button that you can press and it's just gonna pop up winning products every time. Like, the 80-20 rule is there because it's all about testing in e-commerce and finding the products that work. And so you have to understand, number 1, your product feedback loop, where you, out of 10 products you're testing, should hopefully be finding 1 or 2 products that are winning. Now, a lot of you might at this point say, well, I've tested 10 products and I haven't found a winner. But chances are you probably haven't tested it within the judgment frames I'm going to give you here. And second chances are you probably haven't tested it within the strategy that I just outlined here, all right? Because like I said, you shouldn't have to go through this cycle more than like 2 times to find at least some semblance of a winner, okay? Because if you're going through this and say you test 20 products, if you're testing 20 products and not finding a winner, you're doing something wrong, okay? And that's not to be harsh, it's just being real with you, because you need to know and you need to understand this. You shouldn't be able to test 20 products and not find a winner. That means you're doing something wrong down here in your planning stage. You're doing something wrong in the foundational strategy stage, okay? And you need to go back and focus on some of this stuff so that you're not being so random and just testing products that aren't working, okay? But if you are testing products according to with a good foundation and with a good plan, then out of every 10 products you're testing, give or take, you should be finding something that's winning, all right? And then those are the ones that you want to scale. The rest of them you want to kill quickly. Now, just look at this. Just consider, say that you're spending $30 a day on 10 products, okay? And 8 of them are failures. So out of 8 products you tested in one day, that's $240 you spent on products that, didn't do anything. So you spent $240 there, right? But say then you go through here and you have 1 product and 2 products. One of them hits okay, makes you like $1,000 in sales over the next week or so, and the other one over the next 2 weeks makes you like $3,000 in sales. Very, very reasonable numbers, all right? Very reasonable to do $4,000 in sales when you find a winning product. And if you're operating on, say, a 30% profit margin, that would be 10% would be 400 times 3, that would be 1,200, right? So you would have made 1,200 profit. So after you take out your testing costs, you're still looking at $960 pure profit that you made from that one feedback loop, right? And as you do this, that's just assuming scaling to a very, very small degree, right? One of these products should be able to continue to scale much higher than that. It's very reasonable to assume that when you find one product that's a big winner, that you can do $5,000 to $10,000 in sales without much effort. It's not that hard to scale to $5,000 to $10,000 in sales, especially if you're following the micro ad set theory that I have, okay? So the idea here is then you're getting into a repetition, you're getting into a cycle, you're getting into a continuous cycle that you're going through this. Now, you may only be testing 3 products a day, you may not be testing 10 products a day, and that's completely fine, but the cycle continues, right? 3, 3, 3, and then back up, and 3, 3, 3, and then back up, and 3, 3, right? Like it continues, and if you're doing it correctly, you're finding winners along the way, you're scaling those winners as you go, and you're building up, your profits in the bank, and you're using that money to then reinvest right back in to this, right? Like that's the whole point, that's the whole purpose of what we're doing here. Which on another note, that is the whole purpose. You should be reinvesting this money in the beginning right back in. I would absolutely wait a little bit to start pulling money out until you already have built. This is what I did in the beginning in my first store. I was making a lot of money, but I wasn't pulling anything out, right? Like maybe here and there for like a dinner to celebrate or have some fun, but I was not pulling a lot of money out. Everything was going right back into business. So as that money was going in, it was cycling back up to this, you see like that kind of cycle there, and the more money that comes in, the more that feedback loop continues to grow on products that I put that money back in to scale, right? And you want to get into that cycle of reinvesting and not getting lazy like some people do, where they hit a winner and then they just want to sit back, put their feet up, and act like they're Mark Cuban or something, when in reality all you just did is make a couple $1,000s in sales. Like, it's really not something to start sitting back and acting like you made it. So you want to keep putting your money back in and keep scaling. That's how some of these guys get to the level that they're at. That's how I've gotten to where I'm at. So 80-20 rule, judgment frames, all right? Now, what you're looking at here, we're starting to wrap this up as we get into the ads so you can understand testing, all right? You have the micro ad set theory already, but this is going to break it down maybe in a little bit different of a format, where, so like if you're not testing $30 a day, that's fine, right? You don't have to be. You could be testing $15 a day and looking at it over 2 days. You could be testing $10 a day and looking at it over 3 days, which is what I like to do a lot now. As you see, I put the arrow there. I've kind of moved into a $10 a day budget because it's a quicker feedback loop, right? If you're testing at $5 a day, you're going to have to wait probably 3 to 5 days to get, even close to the same type of data that they're getting in 1 day. So it's all about how quickly you want to be getting your feedback, okay? And you have to have the faith and understanding that if you're doing this the right way, you have a good foundation and you have a plan, that as you go through this, that you are able to understand you may be spending money up front, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh man, I'm scared to put the money in. Like you may be spending money up front, but the whole goal is that you're going to find a winner that's going to pay you back in profit, right? Like you have to understand the return on investment and the way that that goes. So that being said, you can do $5 a day if you want to. Like it makes no difference. You're still going to optimize for the best conversions at $5 a day as you are at $30 a day. That's a testing budget, that mindset. But it's just how quickly do you want to get that data back? Do you want to get it back in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, or 3 to 5 to 6 days? Really, I mean, if you're looking at this as spending $30, which I don't believe $30 is like the rule that you have to spend. I'm just saying that's what he's doing in a day. That's the testing strategy, and I really like that. I'm sticking with $10 a day for now because I'm willing to spend it over 3 days to see. Because what I'll also do is I'll probably kill an ad at $20 if I haven't had a sale. Right? If I get to $20 and I haven't had a single sale, and I know that I need my cost per purchase to be at like $8 to be profitable, then chances are I'm killing that ad by $20. There's no reason to let it keep running. It's not going to get more profitable. All right, that's another thing people seem to misunderstand. They think, oh, if I just let it keep running, it'll get more profitable. I'm not saying there's never exceptions to the rule, and if you have something with a big profit margin, that was one of the questions today, like if you have something with a big profit margin, then yeah, maybe you can it's your tolerance level, right? It's like whatever you want your tolerance level to be when you're testing. So you need to understand what your cost per purchase needs to be going into it. All right, if you have an item that you're sourcing for $10 and you're selling it for $20, then you know that you have a $10 margin in there, right? So your cost per purchase needs to be like $5 to make it work. Otherwise, it starts to become not worth it unless you think you can push a really, really high volume. Okay, if you have a product you're sourcing for $30 and selling for $90, now you have a $60 margin. So you can probably play around with it a little bit more, maybe let it go a little bit longer, because even if you're getting cost per purchase at $20, it's still really profitable for you. All right, so that's a distinction, kind of a caveat to understand. But I know most people are testing with kind of slimmer profit margins, products that are in the $20 to $50 range. So you just need to consider the fact that as you're spending this money, if you're getting the $20 and there's no sale yet, your profit margin's kind of already destroyed at that point. That Facebook's already gone out and showed your product to thousands of people at that point, and people are deciding they don't want to buy. So why do you think it's going to get better the longer you let it run? Right? Like it's not. Very, very rarely. And again, that's just a lottery mindset. That's not a system. That's not a process. Okay? So these are the judgment frames that I'm using, based on how much money I'm spending to understand how long I'm letting an ad run to see what type of results that I'm getting. And then here are the metrics that I'm looking at, right? It all comes down to the metrics. You're judging on data, okay? Now, you'll notice, first of all, number one, impressions aren't up there. All right, I've talked about impressions as a way of understanding like why you would kill something, because if 1,000 people see an item and nobody's clicking, then chances are your item sucks, or you completely found the wrong audience, right? But I'm not judging anything based on my CPM, okay? I don't even look at my CPM because I'm not optimizing for impressions. All right, now I'm only talking about conversion ads here. I'm not optimizing for impressions, okay? You're not optimizing for impressions. If you are, I don't know why you are. Like, you're not optimizing for impressions. So the only thing that matters is your cost per purchase, okay? That's what you're going for. That's what you're optimizing based off of, is your purchases. Most people now that I see out there are just saying go straight for optimizing for purchase. I think you can still optimize for add to cart if you want to, but either way, you're not optimizing for impressions. So, like seriously, the impressions talk is almost pointless at this level, okay? But before you get purchases, obviously, you're looking at your cost per link click, right? So this is something else that is important for judgment frames in the beginning, because as I've said in the micro ad set theory, if I've spent $5, $10 on an ad and I haven't had a single click, that means that, Facebook is going out and showing my ad to say 500 to 1,000 people, which is plenty for me to know. Because if I know I'm doing my targeting the best of my ability, and I'm going out and I'm stacking the precise interest, and I'm finding the good interest to start out within my target to test my product, and it's showing it to 500 to 1,000 real people that have seen it and nobody's clicked that link, then it's done. It's game over. I'm not going to let it keep running. I don't care, because it's not sustainable, right? Like if you get your first link click at $5 spent, again, unless you're selling something with a high profit margin, this is generally not going to get any better, right? Where you're going to click, it might come down a little bit, but you're already at $5 it took to find one person who was willing to click your link. So what makes you think in the next $5 it's going to be any better? People say, oh, well, the pixel's optimizing. Well, that's true, but the pixel is really smart now, and I think that what we've seen from the data out there is that Facebook, within like the last half of the last year or this year, has really made the pixel something that it's going out and it's optimizing for the cheapest conversions right off the bat. Okay, I've seen that in my test with what I'm doing. I launch ads, and I'm getting purchases right away, right? Like, I'm not waiting. Link clicks are happening right away. Link clicks are happening. A link click should not be difficult to get, okay? Link clicks on winning products are happening right out the gate, all right? Within the first dollar spent, within the first $2 spent. So if you're getting the $5 and you're not getting a sale, something is wrong. I'm not saying that you can't, readjust or maybe find a new ad image, or like that's true. You might be able to do that, but whatever you're running is not working at that level. Okay, so a lot of times for me, testing it at $10 a day, maybe I won't do it at $5, but like if I'm in that $5 to $10 range, and I probably will do it at $5, but just for the people out there that are kind of like, oh man, I want to let it optimize. Like, if you get to $10 and you're not getting any clicks, then like game over. Stop wasting your money, because it's not working and it's not going to work. All right. When you're getting purchases, now that's what you're looking for, right? But it's not just about getting purchases. You want to get purchases. You should be wanting to get purchases within the first like $20 spent, really. I mean, because this guy's saying at $30 a day, he wants to see a couple, like he wants to see 3 to 5 purchases, right? So you should be getting purchases within the first $20 spent, because his 3 to 5 purchases aren't coming from $20 to $30, right? It doesn't work that way. So you should be seeing purchases happening pretty soon when you're optimizing for purchase, which is why I think optimizing for purchase is pretty good right out the gate now. And that's based on Facebook just kind of updating the way that it does things, updating the algorithm to be super intelligent and super smart and optimize like right away for the best conversions that you can get. All right, so cost per purchase, this is what you're looking at now, right? This is your magic number. Once you start getting purchases within your judgment frames here, now you're looking at your magic number, your cost per purchase, which basically has to do with your ROI, return on investment, right? You want to know, based on how much you're spending, this is everything, right? So like, I look at it as red, yellow, and green lights: stop, slow, and scale. So if you have a product, going back to our example, say you have a product for $20, right? Say you're sourcing it for $8. Okay, you have a $12 gross margin, all right? That's without your marketing costs. That's just your product minus your fulfillment cost is leaving you with a $12 gross margin. So whenever you look at product minus fulfillment costs, whatever you're left with, that's your gross margin, and then your marketing comes out of that. Your cost per purchase comes out of that to give you an idea of how profitable you are. So if you're getting a cost per purchase here of say from here you're getting a cost per purchase for $6, right? That's your CPP. Well, that means you're on the other side of that then, right? You're getting $6 CPP equals $6 pure profit, right? That's pure profit in the bank. So what does that mean? That means every $6 you spend, you're getting a purchase and making $6 back in pure profit, right? You're making a $20 sale for every $6 you spend, minus your fulfillment cost and your marketing cost, $6 in pure profit. So it becomes, at that point, that's when it becomes like an ATM, right? That's when you hear about that Facebook magic money, kind of where now you have a cost per purchase and you're in the green light. Scale, take that and scale it. If you're running this at $10 a day right here, and you're getting a cost per purchase in that first $10, maybe like 2 days, right? You run it for 2 days and you get 3 sales in the first 2 days at $6 cost per purchase. Boom, scale, double that budget to $20 and see if it holds, right? And do that. And then you have your cost per purchase running. As long as your cost per purchase stays where it needs to be and keeps your return on investment profitable, right? This number has to stay above 0 to be profitable. This number here, when you're finally at sale price, gross sale minus fulfillment, minus your cost per purchase, that number needs to be higher than 0 for you to be able to scale, right? So if we're looking at this, and say now we change this up. Say we start to scale and we've been running this for a while, and now our cost per purchase is $10 CPP, right? So we're still profitable at this point, but now we're only making $2. So it starts to become like in the yellow, like slow down. Is it really worth it at this point? My cost per purchase has just jumped by, a lot, and it's not as profitable nearly as much anymore. So like it's a sign that you're slowing down. You're not in the scale zone anymore, right? Something's happening. Either you need to refresh that ad set, either you need to find a new audience, you need to open up a lookalike, you need to try a new ad, like switch from photo to video, video to photo, vice versa, whatever it may be, start a carousel ad, but that is signs that you're like, it's not working as much anymore, right? And then say now your cost per purchase jumps to, I think you guys get where I'm going, but say now your cost per purchase jumps to a $12 CPP. Now you're not making anything, right? And you might even start losing money at this point. And so you're in the red right now. Like, depending on your strategy, if you're not just doing front end sales, like, you could still be optimizing this on the back end at a $0 break even cost to make money. But that's a little bit more confusing for the average person getting started out. And we're almost coming up on an hour here, perfect. So, and this is for the average person getting started out, looking to make front end money off of Shopify, right? Because this only works if you have big budgets to push through, and then you're able to optimize on the back end to make money. So what we're talking about here is making money on the front end, and that's what most people here are interested in, right? They didn't really want to talk about back end kind of stuff, or building a list or anything like that. Like, this is what most people are focused on, is making money on the front end. And so you're looking at your cost per purchase in terms of red light, yellow light, green light, okay? And that's actually something that that's an analogy I learned, and I just think that it's really, really good at understanding why this number matters so much. This is your magic number right here. This is like one of the biggest, most important things that matters in Facebook advertising when we're talking about e-commerce. If it's, it could be cost per purchase, cost per lead, cost per action, like based on whatever you're optimizing on, that's what this number is, because that's what's telling you if your campaign is successful or not. That's what's telling you if you're getting a return on investment that you can keep scaling into the future and keep making lots of money, right? That automatic ATM, that Facebook ATM, where you're putting, as an example of a product that I've run in the past, okay, that was selling for $22. I'm rounding. I'm not going to tell you which way I'm rounding, because people try to be all kinds of clever and stuff. It was selling for $22. It was sourcing for $7, right? So we were making $15 gross margin on every single sale. And then our cost per purchase was generally hovering around $5 CPP, right? So that equals $10 pure profit at that point. Okay, that's basically a Facebook ATM. That's right there is one of the ways that I scaled and got to like the big push in the beginning to help get me to one of the levels that I'm at, is that I was running something like this. I had a big audience, I had lots of different verticals I could expand into, and then I was able to know the numbers. I knew my numbers to a science, down to the point where it was down like this, selling for $22, $7. Even, I was even factoring in, okay, if I refund them on the shipping here, because I was charging $4.95 shipping, and I was only making $17 minus $7, I was making $10, still at a $5 CPP, I'm making $5. So no matter what, I was averaging in between $5 to $10 pure profit for every $5 I spend, right? And if I have an audience size in the millions, then it just becomes a matter of putting money in, right? You're spending as much as you can, putting it in, and then constantly taking your profits and reinvesting right back in. Because at this point, I know every $5 I spend, I'm making I'm just doubling my money up. I'm flipping money. I'm changing money basically through Facebook, and that's able to help you grow a business really quickly. When you know your numbers, when you have a formula, when you have a strategy, when you have a plan, when you understand the metrics of what you're doing, removing the emotion from it, judging on the data, working through a system, and then when it gets down to this, finding the numbers that work, finding the numbers that win, and then pushing them as hard as you can. All right? That's everything. I hope that you found that extremely valuable. I know if you're new to this and you're just getting started, even if you're not, if you've been struggling for a while, this is it right here, guys. This is really valuable information. This is the kind of stuff that we're working on here at the Mastermind. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's exhausting. It's like we're really focused, we're really putting in a lot of the brain power into it. But this is good stuff, because this is the kind of stuff that builds businesses and makes people successful and makes a lot of money. And you know, that's what I want to see for everybody, including the people here who came out here to spend 2 weeks as part of this together and be connected and network with each other. But also for everybody in the group, you know, definitely take this stuff and apply it in your business. Make sure you have a good foundation. Come up with a good plan, something like this. It doesn't have to be what I'm saying. I'm just telling you I know this works, right? So come up with a good plan, come up with a good execution strategy, use the micro ad set theory to your advantage, you know, blend it with other things that you found by all means, but I'm just saying use something that you know works and it's been proven and tested over a long period of time. The stuff in my group has been tested over a year now, and it still works and it's still getting people results every single day, all right? And then constant evaluation, so you're making sure that as you grow, you're growing, right? This is not the only source of information. There's other stuff out there that's working. People doing bigger numbers, people doing better. There's a lot of stuff you can learn from. But in the beginning, you want to find one thing that works so you can get started and get yourself to a position of leverage before, you know, you start absorbing just too much from all over the place. It just confuses you and just kind of stunts your growth or blocks your progress, right? And then again, the constant evaluation. This never stops. Never ever stops. It just changes along the way because you evaluate different and you evaluate better as you go. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you got a ton of value. Hope you're having an amazing day wherever you are in the world. I'm gonna get back to enjoying Bali. Talk to you later. Remember, to live free.